Now I'm gonna put my left foot hard down on the brake while I move the drive mode over to not Sport Plus as the exhaust picks up, but into race. So I've got a nice checkered flag there to tell me I'm in race mode. Now we're gonna go into drive and we're actually ready to go. So keeping my left foot hard down on the brake, the race box is ready. I put my right foot hard down on the accelerator. Race start, here we go. Oh my God! Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, yes, you're not seeing things, I have a Mercedes Benz on my channel, but this is not your average Mercedes Benz. Most of you can see that it's an A45S, but this one's actually had a light tune and it's producing about 500 horsepower. 500 horsepower in a hatchback. I mean, what is the world coming to? Before we start, I just want to say a massive thanks to the owner. Please check out his Instagram in the description below. He's a subscriber to the channel, and in fact, he's had cars like the brilliant F20 M135i in the past. As you can probably see, I'm down here at my second home, Daytona in Sandown Park. And the reason I'm actually here is to test out this car's 0 to 62 figure with my race box. Just a quick reminder of what these mega hatches are, because I'm not going to call this a hot hatch. Hot hatches are 300 horsepower. These are mega hatches. Think of them more as like an insanely fast sports car that's in a practical package. Then that way we need to stop complaining about the fact that they are over £50,000, because I think the performance that you get for 50 odd grand is mind-blowing, ignoring the fact that it is a hatchback. We're talking a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that is actually a hand-built engine now, so we're talking one person per engine, and they normally produce 420 odd horsepower. That's out of a 2-litre engine, so we're talking about 210 horsepower per litre. Just an insane figure. Obviously this one is actually closer to 250 horsepower per litre. Blows my mind when you think about that. Also, this has got Mercedes 4MATIC system, which is essentially a 4-wheel drive system, so just helps it launch off the line. And I can already see that it's got a proper set of tyres on it. It has the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, which I absolutely love and should really help us get this car off the line today. But they're not miracle makers, and there's quite a few white lines around us, so it might struggle a little bit off the line, but it's still going to do well under 4 seconds to 62 miles an hour. Something else that I absolutely love about this car, and you've probably already spotted, is it doesn't have the Plus pack, which is essentially the aero pack. So the big spoiler on the back and all the aggression around the sides, the side sills. I think it comes with some canards around the front, and it's just clean looking. And you know I love my clean looking cars. My M2 competition hasn't got any spoilers on it or any excessive parts in that sense. And I just think it looks so good. When I drove up to this earlier on, especially from the back, it just looks so aggressive. It has got some small spaces all around, but that's it. That stance is basically stock, and I just think it looks awesome. I love how much of a sleeper this car is. I mean, this pulling up against a Ferrari at a set of traffic lights, you would never imagine that this would destroy pretty much anything else out there. Aside from the owner letting me have the keys to this awesome car, and Daytona obviously lending me their track for a couple of hours to do some acceleration runs, I have to say a massive shout out and thanks to BOTB, the Dream Car Competition Company, for sponsoring this video. They actually give away 2 cars every single week now, so on a Wednesday evening and on a Sunday evening, and they have one of these A45Ss to give away. Tickets for this A45S are £2.45, and you could be in with a chance of winning £20,000 worth of cash in the boot, which will help you do a number of launch control runs and spend it on whatever you want. They also have another 25 AMG models to choose from, including the iconic C63S, the G-Wagon, and in fact they have a Marco Polo Mercedes camper van on there at the moment, if that takes your fancy and you want to go away. if it's not an AMG you're after, they've actually got 150 cars to choose from. So head over to BOTB, there's a link below, and check out which car suits you. Tickets start from just 85 pence, and you need to be 17 years and older to enter the competition. So go and show those guys some support, because as I've said in previous videos recently, BOTB have supported me through a very difficult year and enabled me to keep producing videos on amazing cars like this. So massive thanks to BOTB, massive thanks to Daytona, and massive thanks to Juan, the owner, who's given me the keys to his car. Now, although this doesn't have the aero kit, it is still aggressive enough in my opinion. You've got lovely flared arches, you've got the Pan America front grille. I feel like I'm Raz now talking about Mercedes-Benz, because he knows everything. By the way, if you don't watch Raz's channel, go over and subscribe. He's fantastic. He knows everything AMG, and he's probably watching this video at the moment cringing because I'm going to get something wrong, but it's definitely nice to have one of these cars on the channel. I forget how many systems keep that turbo cool that is actually tucked behind the engine there, but there's so much stuff going on under the bonnet, and obviously a lot of that requires cold air. So the front of the car is not just there for aesthetics, it's there for a purpose. As you get around the side of the car, you've got some really nice but fairly understated 19-inch AMG alloys, and behind them you can see some pretty big red AMG brake calipers. So you know this car's serious. If you know what you're looking at, you will walk up to this and think, wait a second, there is something quite serious about this car. And that's before you get around the back and see the quad pipes. Also, looking inside, this car is fitted with some of the most comfortable and supportive AMG sports seats. I'm not sure what they call them. They're some form of bucket or sports seats. But this particular car, because it doesn't have the Plus Pack, actually has Alcantara on them, or Dynamica, I think Mercedes call it. Raz, does that give a tick? Am I right? I think it's called Dynamica. And therefore offers you more support than the ones with leather on them, which is always a plus point for me. I love Alcantara clad seats just for the fact that, well, number one, in the winter they keep you warmer, but most importantly they do offer you a bit more support, especially when you wear jeans and stuff. So the interior of this car is a real strong point. We'll talk more about that once we get the car out onto the road. That angle that you're looking at now is probably my favorite angle of this car. It really looks massively butch, but it's not shouting about it. It has this really good balance of looking aggressive but yet not screaming too much, and that's really cool, especially for AMG, because I think a lot of Mercedes and AMG stuff can be a little bit too in your face. But the way this car sits in the black without the aero pack, etc., it just looks perfect to me. It really does. I think these wheels, the way they fit in the arch, everything, it just looks really, really good. Then you look around here, and obviously you've got the badging on this one to tell you that it is an A45S, but you've got a nice quad set of pipes that do actually make some cracks and pops and bangs as well, which is typically AMG. Since all of these OPF filters and restrictions have come in, there's no denying that AMG have continued to make engines or exhaust systems that still sound decent, which is an amazing feat, because as we know, many other manufacturers have failed with that. So we'll hear more of that once we get it on the road. Talking of getting it on the road, I think I need to get in and do some of these time runs, because I can't wait to see what sort of time this car will post. A stock A45S is quoted at 3.9 seconds to 62 miles an hour. So anything under that is going to be impressive. And I'm hoping to get under 3.5 seconds today. GPS on a dead flat surface. With me, the car's got about 3/4 of a tank of fuel in it as well. So it's a very, very fair test. It's a real world test. And I'm literally going to jump in it, turn it around and fire it down the runway. Runway? Racecourse. Daytona. Sandown Park. Anyway, you know what I mean. Let's get in. Okay guys, here we go. I literally have no idea how fast this is going to be, but I do know it's going to be a sub 4 seconds to 62 miles an hour. But how much under 4 seconds, I really don't know. This is the first time I'm trying. So let's get everything into the right settings in order to launch this car at its most efficient or most ferocious mode. So we hold down the traction control button for about 5 seconds, and that turns ESP off and all the traction systems off. So that's all come up and displayed here. Now I'm gonna put my left foot hard down on the brake while I move the drive mode over to not Sport Plus as the exhaust picks up, but into race. So I've got a nice checkered flag there to tell me I'm in race mode. Now we're gonna go into drive and we're actually ready to go. So keeping my left foot hard down on the brake, the race box is ready. I put my right foot hard down on the accelerator. Race start, here we go. Oh my God! Oh my God! Do you hear all the cracks and pops? Wow! So 3.36 seconds. For some reason it's given us a red. I'm not sure why, because maybe because the gradient was 0.7%, but 3.36 on the first run. I reckon it's going to get better after a couple of runs, so let's give it a second, or maybe best out of 3, and see what time we can achieve. But 3.36 for a hatchback. I don't even know what to say really. That was just, normally I can sort of play back acceleration runs in my head, but that was just so, kind of reminded me of watching a rally car, WRC off the line, just the relentless bomb, 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 unbelievable. Right, let's have a go at run 2. Okay, here we go, attempt number 2. I really think that if we can hook this up off the line, we're going to be looking at something like a 3.2 seconds, which is just insane, but let's not talk about it. Let's try and make it happen. So once again, I'm in the same modes, everything's ready, race mode. So it should just be a case of keeping my left foot on the brake, right foot down. Here we go, race start ready, and off we go. Oh my God! It's just relentless. I don't know what gear that gets up to. Maybe it's 3rd or 4th. I'm letting the car do all that, because these days with really sophisticated launch control systems like this car's got, it's just best to let the car do the shifting. But 3.34 seconds, and we're in the green this time. Ironically, it says the slope was slightly different, maybe just because the car didn't seem to sit too much off the line. It just seemed to go this time. 3.34 seconds. That's just insane. And 1.62 to 60 kilometers an hour. So that's 40 odd miles an hour in 1.6 seconds. I don't think I've ever seen 1.62 seconds on the race box before to 60 kilometers an hour, even with faster, more exotic machinery. This thing just off the line, that first bit up to what is the start line at Daytona, is just insane. Really, really is. This time I've come slightly offline just to avoid being on those white lines, to see if we can get a slightly better launch, because I think there is a 1/10 or 2 in it just off the start. It's just scrabbling a little bit, but let's not take anything away from the 3.34, because I think that might be the quickest time I've ever recorded on the race box, which is just insane. So here we go again. All right, left foot hard down, right foot down, race start, release brake to start. Here we go. Oh, that's just crazy. It's another 3.36 seconds. That's just insane. I also want to point out that we are running just under 3/4 of a tank of fuel as well, and obviously I'm about 105 kilos, so with a lighter driver and less fuel in this, it would definitely be a little bit quicker. And I'm not making excuses for how slow this is, because as I said a minute ago, this is the quickest car I've ever timed on the race box. I mean, 3.3 seconds, just insane, absolutely mental. Okay, I've managed to find a typical British B road here in Surrey, and in fact I've just followed one who was driving his A45S in my M2 competition, and this particular road was extremely bumpy and all over the place, so it'd be interesting to see what this car feels like on it. we've already discovered just how fast it is in a straight line. It is absolutely mental, and I'm glad that we managed to try that on private land because its acceleration is just off the chart. I'm now in drive and comfort, so the car actually feels very pleasant. There's not too much engine sound and certainly no exhaust sound, and to me it just feels very much like a normal A-Class, if you like. There's nothing that really screams at me that this is an extremely fast car. It's just very pleasant, very nice to drive. It's not until you turn this drive select here into sport, I can feel it tightening up already, and the gears just changed down one, or into sport plus again, it seems to get a bit louder, and again it's changed down gear. I'm going to put it into manual. I'm not going to be in race on the road, I'm going to try it in sport plus, and let's just see what this car's like on the road. So much pickup, it's just crazy. Oh my goodness gracious me. 30 miles an hour, foot on the floor, 60. It's just, wow, talk about the overtaking weapon. I said that Taycan I was in recently was ridiculously fast at just picking up, and yes, this has more turbo lag, or it has turbo lag, the Taycan doesn't, but once that tiny bit of lag has disappeared, this thing absolutely flies. What a riot. Let's just talk quickly about value for money, because a lot of people are complaining about how expensive these are, and they're not cheap. If you think of them as a hatchback, they're ludicrously expensive. They really are, as I try to avoid this massive truck from taking a gouge out the side of the car. They are like £51,000 base. Once you add a few options, you look at a car that's closer to £60,000. But the way we've got to think about this car, and I did say it in the intro, is forget about it being a hot hatch or a mega hatch or whatever you want to call it. Think about it as a sports car. Think about it as a 420 horsepower, or in this case 500 horsepower with a DMS tune sports car that has exceptional grip, exceptional chassis control, practicality. You know, 4 seats in here. Yes, it is just an A-Class, so it's not massive, but you've still got the hatchback practicalities. You've got all of that for £50,000. Let's think of this as more of an M2 competition rival as opposed to another hot hatch, because price-wise and power-wise it really is. But let me just get something straight. On this sort of road, especially in the wet, I wouldn't see which way this car went in a little chase. I just wouldn't. It has so much ability, it's unbelievable. But does that mean that I'm having more fun in this car than I would be in my M2 competition? Probably not. It is engaging and there's lots of feel, and the car feels incredible, especially on the limit, as I discovered when I was with Matt Watson on the runway, just pushing it to its limits. With its drift mode, you can get it to go sideways, and it feels nicely equal bias, I guess. The front and rear axle, you get nice slides going, so it is engaging, but it's not M2 competition engaging. And you obviously can't get a manual gearbox in this. It comes with an auto only. Talking of the auto box, it's a very, very good gearbox. It seems extremely responsive. The paddles themselves are lovely, and in fact this cabin is just lovely. I have to say, I sometimes give Mercedes a hard time about their cabins, because I think sometimes they're all show and no go, by which I mean the plastics and stuff when you start prodding around aren't that great quality. But what I have discovered with Mercedes of late is that as you go up the range, the plastics and the finish doesn't necessarily get much better like it does with BMWs. So the A-Class, and more specifically this A45, the plastics, the finish, the tech in here is just incredible. And what you find in the E, and to a certain point the new S-Class as well, I just think it's lovely in here. Everything in here feels like it's £50,000 worth. It's really nice. The driving position is pretty good. As always, I feel like I'm sitting a little bit high, but not so much that I'd complain about it, just so much that I'd point it out, because I've got loads of headspace here, and actually I just feel very, very comfortable. And the reach and rake for the steering's really good, and just overall, I'm very, very impressed with this little car. I have to say, it is expensive, but I can see where the money's gone. It's like a Group B rally car. Oh, what a machine. What a fun little car, wow. I'm going to end the video here now, guys, because I've had enough fun and Juan actually needs to head off. Massive thanks to Juan. I mean, lending me this incredible car. Really, mate, thank you so much. I've had a lot of fun in it today, and I still can't believe that we managed to do consistent 3.3 0 to 62 times. That's just mind-blowing. What a little machine. And it's not just about straight line pace, this car. It really is the full package. Might be expensive, but it's a lot of car for £50,000, that's for sure. Huge thanks once again to Daytona Sandown Park for letting us use their circuit this morning to test the acceleration times on this car. And a massive thanks goes to BOTB, the Dream Car Competition Company, for sponsoring this video and really keeping me afloat this year. So please, guys, head to the link below in the pinned comment on the description and see if you can win your dream car. They've got 150 cars to choose from, including one of these A45Ss for £2.45. The tickets start from just 85 pence, so head over there and see if you can win a car, and a car with £20,000 worth of cash in the boot. Wouldn't that be nice? Thanks for watching as always. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and leave any comments and questions below the description. I will see you at the next one.